I would definitely tell folks, don't do it by yourself. You don't need to. There's resources out there, and it doesn't have to be, a scary or uncomfortable process. Utilize individuals that have been down that path.
We all need coaching, and we all need friends. Hi, welcome back this week to The Naked Doctor. I'm Dr. Tammy.
And this is Chrissy.
We have a great show for you today. We always do.
We always do.
Yeah. We have an amazing guest, someone who I feel like just was led into my life just recently. And as I was thinking about what the show would be about today, it was that thought that we all have gifts within us. And when I met Tammy Jean, my name's Tammy Jean too. When I met
We have
Tammy
two
Jean,
Tammys on the show today, by the way. Two Tammys.
Two twos.
Two for the price of one.
It was like, here is this dynamic person that felt open enough with me that she could share a part of her that is a gift that I think so many times we just don't share those special things about us because for some reason we were shut down maybe when we were little, or we were told that's weird, or there's something odd about that, or we're shamed for something. And it makes us the core of who we are. And so when I realized that she was also a corporate America strong female who's just gorgeous and looks like, and she'll probably have her own show right after this, so she'll branch off. And also has this extremely spiritual side that immediately I felt in the presence of healing with her, although, we all are there to heal each other. I love that saying, we're all just walking each other home. But I think we're coming into a new awareness. And I also felt, just to be full transparency, that it was an opportunity to share Chrissy's gifts as well, because she has been a healer of a very unique type for a very long time.
Right.
And she's always been my sidekick and been in corporate America. And so the term sales and what we are in our what we call day job, I think is a very interesting focus, because that's okay. It's okay for us to be in corporate America, or it's okay to be teachers or doctors. But that part of us that makes us special, that keeps our connection to the infinite, is sometimes what we have to hide that light. And so I felt like it was an opportunity for you to also get to know Chrissy on a level that, maybe I've kind of pushed that back a little bit because we've been so focused on the naked doctor, the naked truth about health and wellness. But when we go to lifestyle, there are truths that we all are afraid to put out there because for whatever reason we've been shamed or controlled over time. So I thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
And
What an opportunity. What a wonderful show.
Just
I'm so
open this
glad
thing
that you're here.
wide open. So
What?
our show today
Hello.
is just going to be hang on to your hats because it's going to be awesome.
Yes, what a welcome. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm so
Absolutely.
glad to be here. And just a little bit about myself. I also am a Tammy Jean VELASQUEZ. And though I have a background in corporate America and have spent 29 years in that industry in sales, customer service, I also have my own practice. And I am a QHHT practitioner. And what that stands for is Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique. In addition to that, I also am a self-transformational coach. And so a little bit about QHHT was discovered here by the famous Dolores Cannon in Mountain Home, Arkansas.
Okay.
And so it's definitely an intriguing practice to look into, but we work with individuals that are struggling with any aspect of your life. QHHT can be of help for you. Not only is it it's not a traditional hypnosis technique. What it is it's more self-hypnosis. And so we work with clients and individuals that are struggling with anything, or they need awareness, or some situation has come up that they need some deeper clarity on. So that's kind of just a little bit about QHHT. It's what I do, and I love working with clients and individuals that have found me in that way. And then also I have the coaching side of the business, anywhere from personal relationships to health and or business. So that's a little bit about me.
Oh, and that's first of all, I have to say, I did not realize the connection to Dolores Cannon, who is someone that I have spent hours listening to YouTube videos
Yes.
and her books, and so that was fantastic. And I felt that it was not a coincidence because I found her not knowing that she was local. Unfortunately, I feel that that's local, like where her publishing company and all of that. And then, but unfortunately, when I learned about her, she had already passed. So,
Yeah.
what a wonderful extra connection that her guidance is part of developing your gift. I think that's fantastic because I'm like, hey, a home girl. Like that's the way I feel about it. There's something magical about this area that draws healers, and it's not a mistake that alongside of that, we have a lot of business success in this area as well. Do you realize that? So it's not just that we have brought together some really great money-making minds with all of the different corporations that have made their headquarters in this particular area, but we also have a lot of really forward thinkers that have developed in this area as well.
Yes.
So
And money's just energy.
money is energy. That's what I'm saying.
just
It's not. I
energy.
don't think that it's a mistake. I think that the energy is here. There are a lot of crystal mines in the same area. I
gonna
just
say
think
that, hot
this is
springs.
an area where energies have crossed in a way that are allowing us to come together like this. So, ooh, what a great opportunity in this show.
I just realized too, as you were saying that as we open up the conversation and we open up these doors, we'll all be like, oh, I've been listening to that. I've been watching Abraham Hicks.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
yeah.
I think more
me
of
too,
those
so-
rivers are going to come together and flow into the ocean that is the awesome consciousness that we already know that we are. So
It lets it all out. And I think that, as we're kind of thinking about if this is uncomfortable in any way for you, then we're not the show for you. Then you probably aren't gonna, want to watch us. But if you feel like you're in a place that your discomfort at all is making you go, maybe, then, it's the people that find you or the people who need to find you. So if you're compelled and you want to just learn a little bit more of the deep dive that we're going to go into opening those boxes just a little bit more, hang tight and we'll be right back with the Naked Doctor. Hi, welcome back to the Naked Doctor. I'm Dr. Tammy.
and this is Chrissy.
And we have Tammy Jean in the house.
Yes, we have
Hello.
Tammy too.
Two Tammys. So, we used to call it coincidence. And we know there's no such thing as coincidence. So it's like, I was just telling you guys before the show that I feel like more and more and more the synchronicities, I think, are just our truth and our awareness because we just spend so much time damping everything down, damping our energy, the imposter syndrome, the who am I, and not really accepting that, the goddess in you, and if you're a man watching, we all have this very big power, but really just kind of playing small. And who am I to, be that person?
Gifts are for special people. So what makes you special?
What makes you so special?
Yeah,
And
why would
how
that
many
be
times
you?
did we hear that growing up? Quit acting out. You're not all that,
Yeah.
And so it's like that messaging. And so we get to this point where we're really scared to show our gifts, or our gifts have been shamed, or because we're different. But what I've learned in business, and we kind of went from the angle of sales here, is in business, you can be bigger and be more successful, but really what people seek out is the different. That's where the power is if you're in business. And so part of what I also wanted to bring to the conversation today was everyone's in sales. Even if you're trying to get your kid to brush their teeth, there's an aspect of sales. And so the original Nordic word sales was service. So how can you be of service, and how can you be of service in the whole realm of things? And so even if you're not in a place where you're really willing to, come out and share your gifts, because we know you have them. You're just hiding them if you haven't already brought them out yet. But what does that mean for you? And maybe just to pull a bit of the veil back and the fear, because we're all feeling it.
Right,
We're
right.
all
We all know
scared
that
to
there's
be who
something
we
in
are.
there that we feel we should be expressing.
And a lot of people are asking right now, well, what is my calling? What is my gift? What is my thing? And, there's two things I always say to that is one, it's something you receive a lot of compliments on. It's always one that's if people are complimenting you, and it's always the thing that someone seeks from you. Hey, can I ask you a question about this? Or hey, what's your thoughts on that? And how I got into, working with others in the QHHT realm and coaching was, people would seek me out. They wanted my 2 cents. And, in being able to be of service and help somebody, it had to start with myself. I had to focus and make adjustments on my own personal self. And there was so much joy in that. And there's, discover, and discard. It's find out what's going on inside of you. Where's the disconnect, and discard it. And so you can move on, and you can be in alignment, and you can be happy with wherever you're at. And so that just is naturally how I am as a person. And so, I love working with others, and I noticed people would come and ask me, hey, I've got this situation, how would you handle it? Or what's your thoughts on this? Or I'm struggling with this. So it kind of led me down that avenue of being able to be of service to others. Exactly what you had said is really at the end of the day, when you are in alignment with what your calling is and what your purpose is to be of service to other people, you're not really selling anything anymore. You've stepped into a service role, and you're also, educating at that point. There's no product or service to sell. Mm-hmm. This is kind of my, 2 cents on that and thoughts around that.
Yeah, I think we go back to, I wish we'd just get rid of the word selling, because a lot of people think of the schmarmy car salesman that's like, hey, what are you in the market for today? And it's like all selling or providing a service, which is what we all do to each other all day long.
It's a mutually beneficial interaction. Mm-hmm. It's an exchange of energy and a mutually beneficial interaction. That's really what we're looking for. Mm-hmm. No one is coming away from the table feeling reduced in any way. Right. Something has changed hands, some energy, whether it's money or ideas or whatever we want to call that. And we've both benefited from it, and we walk away feeling great. And that's the way I would like to look. Yeah, sales comes into it, absolutely. But I want that to be with my family interactions. I want it to be the same way with, oh gosh, the barista, for goodness sakes. I want to have that positive coming away feeling better than when I think that's really what our interactions are keyed in, when we've really got that all pistons firing. I think that at some point we'll feel that way more. My interactions seem to be more and more beneficial on both ends. I'm doing something right.
Right.
I kind of watched Chrissy through her journey, and then I'm just curious what was the first time where you said, I'm going to do some training in this, or the first time somebody came to you and as a client with a need, and what made you that first time? It's like the first time that you rode a bike and you're like, whoa, I did it. What was that kind of first time experience like, and when exactly after that first time was you like, I'm in this. This is like, I'm not going to try to hide this. This is going to be a part of who I am.
The energy exchange that happens when you help somebody, and obviously you're in a field with service as well. And when somebody is wanting to get better, wanting to make adjustments, needing some guidance and needing help, and just being able to walk them down a path that I've had to go down as well. And I always tell folks that, you're here to teach what your hardest lesson was. And when that person has that aha moment, like, oh, I'm free from this now, or I'm on the other side of this now.
Right, that feels so good.
Yeah, and it's such, it's a feeling that there's no amount of money can buy. It's a true, authentic feeling that you were able to help and assist somebody else. Others have helped me in that way as well. Mm-hmm. But also when you can experience it and you're just like, you really see someone's happiness that they've, especially if they've been struggling or they've been to, in your situation, they've been to doctor after doctor and they finally, they're discouraged or they don't see there's any hope, and then they come along and you open their eyes to something that they haven't heard, and it's just it's a powerful feeling. That's what really draws me to it.
That is really nice. I like that because it is like a little celebratory when you realize that you've honed in on the right question, or that something that wasn't connecting there is suddenly connected, and you see it and you kind of feel it with them when you're intuitive. It's like, oh, it's juicy. It feels so good. It's such a boost.
Yeah, I had a patient just this week, and it was really interesting, and he was so scared, and it was a cannabis patient, and just that first time they come in, they're so scared. And you've done it a million times. And so, but for them, it's the first time that they've come and they've said, I think this is something that can help me. You know, can we talk about it? And I really think it's what you bring to the table, your confidence that you're like, oh yeah, we got this, you know, and you put them at ease. So I think the service conversation should always be that you've kind of done your homework first.
I love that. And I've always said that, you know, you really have to understand and know the value of your product and your service before you are, you know, go out and offer it. Because once you have that confidence that, you know, this can really help, this is really going to be of service to somebody, it's really going to fit a need, then you don't have to compromise. You don't compromise, and the ones that need you will find you. And you're, you know, and at that point, when you know the value of your product or your service offering, you, sales is no longer a conversation. You shift from selling or trying to have you buy something or purchase my program into, you know, it's more consultative at that point. Now I'm just here of service and can provide information for you if you're interested in it. To me, it's a game changer, and I always tell folks is, you know, I'm not selling anything. I'm just here to offer, you know, something that may be of service to you or a fit for your needs.
I love that. Yeah, it's very interesting because I have gone through times in my life when, because I do things outside the box and because there is, you know, keeping the lights on and things like that, that you almost feel like sometimes when things slow down or, you know, when it's like that time of year when people are out doing their summer things, you know, and it's like, think the phone doesn't ring quite as much, and then you start kind of getting that fearful place. Well, and I've also learned over the years, just listening to Jack Canfield and Zig Ziglar and stuff about cycles. You know, there's moons, there's, you know, these lunar cycles, there's the wave cycles of the ocean, and it's like there's spring, summer, winter, fall. And so you just have to relax into that and use that time to gather the harvest.
Make
and to
yourself
be ready.
better, do that self-care that you talk about, all of those things.
And because fear in selling or fear in trying to, you know, push against something, there's a reason that that's happening. And we've talked about it too. I know, it's so fun. There's a reason. I know, there's so much. There's a reason for that. So you just kind of have to relax into that. So when we kind of come from that angle of how do you serve, it's also having that confidence in a match, in a, you know, relationship. It's all about relationship. At the end of the day, that's all that it's about. But when you serve and when you find that you're trying to match up a relationship and products or whatever, or, you know, service or whatever that is, I think that when you come from a place of, just like you said, I can do this thing, do you need this thing? And then it's just conversation. What is it they say everyone likes to buy, no one likes to be sold. So if you're in a place where you need something, you're like, oh, I finally found you. And then you're like, oh, I finally found you. And then you could breathe, and then the relationship goes on. And I think part of, if people feel like they can trust you, is like, are you in it for the long haul? Is this the relationship that we're going to be, one of us is going to be, you know, kissing each other on the cheek as we, you know, exit out of this world. So I think that's part of that trust that you have in people too. So I think that's valuable. So we're having a great conversation, but they're saying it's time for a little break. So we're going to come back, and we're kind of going to break into Chrissy's world and maybe some things that you might explore, especially if you're feeling stuck. Maybe you're out here in corporate sales world and you just feel like you're just trudging through, you know, walking through mud or moving through mud kind of thing. So if you're feeling a little stuck, these may be some services that they do outside their day job that could be of service to you. So hang tight, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. We're having a wonderful show today, and it always goes so fast. So we've just decided that we're going to do a part 2.
Yes.
So we're going to just kind of stay a little deep dive in this, but you're going to want to watch the part 2 show of this as well. But when we went to break, we're kind of talking about the experience of stepping into our gifts and what does that, look like. And sometimes I think that people almost stay a little disconnected from their gift, and it impedes their day job. I don't know how to really call it that, because I was kind of raised where there's this line between you just do this and you just, keep your head down and you're going to go to med school and you're going to do this, and you're just going to be a good girl, and you don't think you can have some spirituality, but within the bounds of church on Sunday. And that's
Right.
it.
That's the compartment
Don't
for
ask
that.
questions.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Get back to work.
Maybe potluck and maybe a
Yeah,
Wednesday
yeah,
night
yeah.
or maybe a church bus, and
Right.
that's pretty much all
Right.
you get.
So when you start to feel that calling, that there's so much more, and when you start asking questions about the control and fear that's often, not always, but often injected into organized type structures, that it just happens, and so it's like you start feeling, maybe there's something bigger here. I say my dad was extremely strictly religious, and my mom was always like, we're all going to be surprised. And so I have this mix between sometimes going towards this fear base and sometimes this more, let's just love each other and be spiritual and just practice kindness, because at the end of the day, that's really all we've got, So how did you kind of balance that between stepping into this other world, and how did you start deciding to take clients, and what did that look like when?
Yeah, it was a little bit challenging because majority of individuals knew me as a completely different person than I really, really am, and didn't know my deeper interest or where I felt my gifts were. And so because I've been very fortunate and have a good career in, with a corporate company, a lot of those individuals didn't know this side of me. And it wasn't, to be honest with you, what really drove it was people kept seeking me out. A lot that kept coming, and that was just more confirmation that it's time to really step into aligning with where your passion is really at and what my God-given gifts were. And that didn't mean I have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. And I think a lot of individuals are at that place, where they do have a full-time career, but but they also have other interests too, and bringing them together to where there can be a healthy balance in a person's life and where they can both complement each other. So it's been a slow journey and process, but it just naturally gravitated slowly. And during the pandemic is really when it happened. I just kind of got some guidance that I needed to go in a little bit of different direction, and the time was right because everything was slowed down. So it really gave me an opportunity to take advantage of this time, and that's how I got in, got my certification in QHHT, and then just started blossoming from there. And I'm just so surprised because you made reference to it earlier, as they'll find you. They will find you. Individuals seeking what they're needing help in, they'll find you. So that's kind of how I've maneuvered that, and having a good balance in your life. I know the days that I see clients on, and then the days when I'm at full time in my my corporate job. So it's really about making sure there's a healthy balance and that they both complement each other with your time.
That first time you made business cards or you hung your shingle, was that a little scary? Because I think all of us, as we're kind of branching out and we're kind of stepping into something, pushing through that fear a little bit, or like with you, Chrissy, the first time you said, I'm hanging my shingle, I'm
hanging
open for
the shingle
business.
out. This is what I'm going to be. I'm going to be magical. I've kept it quiet for a while. Sometimes that can be scary.
Right. And I think because as humans, we have a social instinct that we all want to belong. It's part of our nature.
Yes.
We want to be part of the group, and we don't want to be, cast out. And so just naturally, we, because we thrive, we have to thrive with a group. That's how we grow and expand, and we help each other. So it is a little bit different when you kind of start stepping out of the norm and kind of going in a direction that maybe not all of society is going in. But definitely, I think that when you talked about going back to your question about the business card, one of the things that I was really fortunate in that I had my own personal coach, because I hired a coach, and she talked to me about this, and she said, when you have a business of any type, you have to invest in yourself. And what that means is continued education and also resources that will help you. So I, in that, I was working with somebody that as the business was coming along, and as I was building out my website and defining my, what the descriptions of what my practice was, and working with another person really helps. So I definitely tell folks, don't do it by yourself. You don't need to. There's resources out there, and it doesn't have to be, a scary or uncomfortable process.
Right.
Utilize individuals that have been down that path.
We all need coaching, and we all need friends. And asking questions, critical thinking is just, it's so fear-based how it just damps all that down, So you have to be able to first say, is this true? And then you have to be able to say, is this really the way I feel? I mean, owning, and I think we as women a lot don't do that, because we want to go along with fitting in.
Right.
That's
And we
really
let
hard.
those assumption echoes rule how we make our decisions. Things that people have said to us in the past and assumptions that we've made can sometimes freeze us in our tracks, and we don't want to move.
Right.
And you shame and fear and control a lot that way too, so it really keeps us restricted too. So I think this is just a beautiful awareness that, hey, use your gifts. You got to get them out of the
Yeah, get them out of the door, dust them off. It's okay. Get them out. It's all right.
Safe,
Yes.
safe
Let them see
here.
some sunshine.
But we're going to take a little break, and we're going to come back, and we'll be right back with the Naked Doctor. Thanks so much for watching this week. It's been a wonderful show. We've had Tammy VELASQUEZ on the show today, and we just have so much excitement about just being who you are and accepting that your day job and who you really are may have two different parts that maybe, what do they call it, when they need to meld together to be more of a whole
mesh.
person.
To
And then
complete.
that whole person, not accepting that whole person might be where the struggle is if you're not feeling just healthy and well. It could be that you're just kind of fighting off a gift that you should be using, and that the universe and the world is calling for you to step into. You can find all our links on thenakeddoctorshow.com, and we have social media, so please reach out, and you're going to stay tuned for next week. We're going to do a part 2 and deep dive a little bit more into the gift of sales, or the sales
All of the
gift.
gifts, the gift of the gifts.
Thank you so much for being
Yes,
here.
thanks for having me. Thank you.
So good to have you here.
Awesome time. All right, y'all have a wonderful, blessed week. We love you very much, and we'll see you back here next week on The Naked Doctor. Mwah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.